Cool. All right, let's get started. Hey guys, okay, great webinar today. I love Katie. I love it. And I have to tell you, I think I talked about this on our last webinar, but it was a while ago that we did our last webinar. So Katie, the first Katie Briggs that I knew was my friend from high school's sister. And then, so Peter, who's a friend, I mean, like we grew up together, we went to church together. His sister's name's Katie. And so when I found out he married a girl named Katie, I'm like, that's gotta be so weird. Is it a little weird?
I asked him about that. So it's more weird for his mom because she'll say Katie and we'll both say what? And she'll say Katie Briggs and we'll say what? So she's called the original.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
And if she says Katie the original, then it's her. Otherwise it's me. But usually it's her asking for like help in the kitchen, so she needs like Katie and not me. She doesn't want to ask me for help. She feels bad.
That makes sense. But I love our connection because it was doTERRA really that brought us together. I mean, I'd met sort of before doTERRA, but then doTERRA happened and it was like, oh my gosh, this is so great. I see you more now than I would have ever seen you ever before. So, I mean, we see each other in high five at conventions and at local events. So you're in the Mission Viejo area, is that correct?
No, we moved to North San Diego County, so I'm actually closer to you.
No way!
Than I was.
Oh, great. Congratulations. That is so awesome.
Thanks.
So are you working in the same place then?
No, I work at Scripps in Chula Vista now.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing. Okay.
It's so awesome. I love it. Still in the ER. I'm still the ER nurse that does holistic stuff on the side. When I'm not, as my 7-year-old says, stabbing people with needles.
Is that pretty much what you're doing all day?
That's pretty much what I do, is stab people with needles therapeutically all day.
Of course. And then you stab people with oils. I love that. That's so good.
Yeah.
Here, try that. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah. I wish I could just like make it rain with oils at work. You have nausea. Here's some oil. You have pain. Here's some oil. You're sad. Here's some oil.
Exactly. And I'm sure that's something you want to do in the ER constantly. And I know that's something you probably can't do, which is something I want you to talk about, like the balance of what is happening right now, because it's changing. I mean, all of my people know that I'm a firm believer in both. I think Western is necessary, but I think we do need to incorporate the Eastern because the Western is being overused. So, your stance on all of that, maybe just a little bit of your story, whatever you want to share, you're all welcome to share your screen. So thank you for joining us and go to town.
Yay, I'm so excited. All right, so I just wanted to welcome everybody and say I'm so excited to have you here. Like Mandy said, I am an ER nurse. I've been an ER nurse for about 12 years. I've only ever worked in the ER because I like it when people are really ill and I get to fix them. I don't like it when people are really ill in my regular normal life. So it works well that I like oils and the holistic side for people that I love. And I try and share that because I think everyone should have access to that. But that being said, once in a while you need the ER. My daughter broke her arm like 1.5 years ago in 2 places and dislocated her elbow. No matter how many oils I put on it, that was absolutely not going to fix the problem. She needed surgery, she needed to be sedated, and they needed to go in there and fix it and put like metal rods in. But that being said, I also used oils to help support the healing and help her body heal itself and help with some of the discomfort that comes along with breaking your arm. So I really do think there's a good balance between natural medicine and Western medicine. And I kind of like the perspective of being able to see the natural medicine side and what you can do to support your body so that you don't need Western medicine except in those like acute severe injury cases. So I put together a little slideshow. I'm going to kind of go through a little history of essential oils just because there might be some people on here that are not current users because I invited also some people who were interested. So I'm going to screen share and I'm going to choose my screen. All right, so I could not get this to be a full screen with me sharing. My computer doesn't like me. So what I wanted to talk about was how to stay healthy this winter using essential oils. Mostly all of you have heard about how severe the flu is this year and how the Western flu shot, even if you get it, is not really doing much. So what I wanted to do was let you know there are things that you can do to help your body stay well, and what we can do to support your body, and some of the studies that are out there that show how essential oils actually work to help support our body's natural healing and health processes. So what I always do at the beginning is just a reminder, turn your phone off, turn your text messages off. The information will be worth your full attention. And I think sometimes we get so distracted by all the things we're doing that it's really hard for us to focus on one thing. So just a reminder. All right, so my intention is to have you gain an understanding of essential oils if you already don't know how they work, but also gain an understanding of the science behind essential oils. I think a lot of us have anecdotal stories about how they work, but we don't really know the chemical science behind it. So that's kind of some of what I'm going to show you guys today. And then different ways to use them, and if you don't already use essential oils, how to get them into your home. So who is this webinar for? Anybody interested in all natural options for health and wellness? I think that's a lot of us. Anyone curious about what essential oils really are? So this isn't just, what are essential oils, but how do they work? Why do they work? What is the research out there about them? Anyone searching for non-toxic alternatives for their family's health? This is a big topic nowadays because we're finding so many of the products we use to clean and wash our clothes and wash our hands really are so toxic and are really not good for our bodies, and the cost benefit of us using them definitely weighs on the cost side and not the benefit side. So there are non-toxic alternatives, and essential oils are a great thing that you can use to make DIY at home alternatives. I'm actually hosting a class tonight at my house where we're making deodorant and bath salts and a sugar scrub. So that should be super fun. So also anybody, if you're tired of going to the doctor for every illness and the doctor says, oh, it's a virus, you can just wait it out. A lot of people don't know the difference between virus and bacteria and what those differences are and why you can take medicine for one and not the other one. So we'll go over that. And then just this feeling of helplessness when their family is sick. Oh, you're sick, but I can't do anything. I have to wait for them to get better. And then if you are ready to take your health into your own hands, then let's go explore it. So I kind of already went into it, but my name's Katie Briggs. I have a lot of letters after my name that makes me very special as a nurse. So RN, I'm a registered nurse. BSN, I have a bachelor's in nursing also. And CEN is I have a specialty certification in emergency nursing. So that is not something you can buy. It's something that you study for, and it's a test you take, and it's a certification test. And you have to renew it every 4 years to prove you are still an experienced emergency nurse. So I've been in the ER over 12 years, and I've seen everything. I used to work at a trauma center. I've taken care of kids. I worked at a pediatric ER for a while. I work at an emergency room on the border of San Diego and Mexico right now. And the things we see are incredible. And I love it. And I love helping people when they're really sick. But I never want to be in the situations that so many of my patients are in. And I found essential oils about 4 years ago when actually my husband's cousin wanted to come to California and wanted to write it off. So she wanted to tell me about essential oils. And I was super holistic already. And I used non-toxic products, and I ate organic food, but I blew her off like 3 times. And I didn't really want to talk to her because I didn't know who she was, and I didn't know what essential oils were, and I didn't really care because I didn't know the value of them. So if the one thing I can say to anyone who is sharing oils is you're not bugging someone by trying to share. No doesn't mean no, it means not right now. I wasn't ready at that time. And if she would have not bugged me, I would not be where I am now. So I'm super grateful. So her name is Stephanie Newton, and I love her, and she's great. And she's actually a diamond on my team, which is really awesome. But I just feel like I get to bridge that gap between East and West because I see Western medicine and modern medicine, and I see Eastern medicine and more holistic treatments. And that's for the medicine we've been using for thousands of years. So how did I get here? So I was the mom of 2 small kids. That is my middle one, Brooks. He was about 1.5 or 2 at that time. I was pregnant with my third, and I also had a 3.5-year-old, and I was overwhelmed. He had a lot of respiratory difficulties. he would get croup every time he got a cold or a runny nose. And what that entailed was me sitting outside all night, bundled up with him with tons of blankets on, and feeling helpless because there wasn't any really thing you did for croup. It's kind of that barky seal cough, and there's nothing you can do. It's a virus, and you have to wait it out. And it's super stressful when your kid is coughing and they feel like they can't get enough air, even though they are. But then they're upset, and then you're upset, and you're not sleeping because they're not sleeping, and it's like an endless circle. So I really did feel helpless. And my friend Stephanie introduced me to essential oils because I had, made a comment that I was super frustrated, and he, had all these respiratory difficulties. And so she shared with me essential oils, and I started using them on a consistent basis. And it really did support his respiratory system. I also used one of the immune support oils, which I'll get into, and that really helped as well. And I'm telling you, everything changed. Instead of us going to the ER 2 or 3 times every winter, there was one point that I couldn't remember when we went last. And I thought, this is amazing. Like, how are these plants doing this? These are plants. Like, they're plants. How is this possible? And why does everyone not use these? So I kind of turned into the person who, anytime anyone says anything about any problem they're having, I'm the one who's like, ooh, I have an oil for that. I can share it with you. Let me show you how to use it. Let me tell you what happened to my family. So I'm totally that person now. So a little bit of background for the people who don't already use them, and even some people who do, because I know some people use them but aren't really clear on what they are. So they're just concentrated plant extracts. They're called aromatic compounds. That's the science word for it. Aromatic means the molecules have a ring structure. That's it. Pretty simple. So they basically can be from any part of the plant: bark, leaves, roots, stems, petals, seeds, rinds, everything. And these extracts work to keep the plant healthy. They protect it from predators. They help the plant heal when it has an injury, like when I go to my garden and I pick a basil leaf off for dinner. That injures the plant. So the plant uses the oils to help heal that injury. So the cool thing is they're actually little sacs. So the picture on the right is an actual electron microscope picture of a peppermint leaf. And those white sacs are where the essential oil is. They're little sacs. So if you pick a peppermint leaf or a basil leaf or a, any sort of the like oregano leaf, and you rub it together and you smell that smell, that is the little sacs on the leaf being broken open by you smashing them. So I think that's a pretty cool way for people to understand what's actually happening when they use the essential oils. So they are very, very powerful. As some of you know who use them, you do not need a lot. They're 50 to 70 times more powerful than dried herbs. So you need 1 or 2 drops versus, I think some people aren't muted. So the cool thing is, if you were to...
Katie, hold on. This is, your stuff's important. Let me make sure that we're... Hey guys, make sure you're muted. I can't tell who's not muted.
Christy's muted. Laura's not muted.
Is that what it is?
I can't mute her. It won't let me. Woohoo! You're awesome.
I think I got it. Okay. We good? Okay. Sorry. Continue.
Yeah, we're totally good.
So sorry about that. Continue.
No, it's totally okay. So right, my 3.5-year-old right now is playing a video game. He's so excited I'm doing this. He's like, Mom, I play a video game, right? I'm like, it has to be one I can't help you with. He's like, you do another one tomorrow, right? I'm like, okay.
This is way different than last time, by the way, because you kept having to go in and out to help with your kids, and we're like,
I know. Well, 2 of them are at school now. So the one that was in the picture is now in kindergarten. What? Like, how did that happen?
Happens like that. It's so crazy.
I know. So what I tell people when they, tell me like, oh, but oils are so expensive. They're not. You need 1 or 2 drops and that's it. So if you were using peppermint tea to help with some digestive discomfort, to open up your airways, and we'll go into that, you would need 28 cups of peppermint tea to do the same thing that 1 drop of peppermint essential oil does. And that's 8 cents. There's no way 28 cups of peppermint tea costs 8 cents. There's just no way. So they're very powerful, and with being very powerful, in our house we treat them like medicine. So they are not medicine, but we treat them like that because they're so powerful. They're not toys, they're not to be played with, and because my kids are small, so my one that in that picture is now almost 6, his birthday's next week. And I also have a 3.5-year-old, and I have a 7.5-year-old. And they're allowed to use them, and they all have favorites, but they're not allowed to use them by themselves. Because we use them for therapeutic purposes. So how do they work? In the modern approach, which is Western medicine, can you guys see that? I can't see it very well on my screen. You guys can see it okay? All right, so Western medicine and the modern approach has only been around for around 100 years. Did you guys know that? 100 years. It's designed to manage your symptoms. So if you are having high blood pressure, and you take a high blood pressure medicine, that medicine is not working to fix your high blood pressure. What it does is it artificially, with man-made chemicals in a lab, works to decrease your blood pressure while you're taking it, but it does not make your high blood pressure problem go away. Does that make sense to everybody? The ones that have video, shake your head yes. So all of those medicines, because they're made in a lab with synthetic chemicals, have side effects, every single one. And here in the US, we are actually able to watch commercials for medicines, and so they have to list all of the side effects. So sometimes it's funny if you listen to the commercials. It's a medicine for a headache, and what it will say is, may cause severe flatulence, diarrhea, fevers, pneumonia, and possibly death. And you're like, I have a headache. I don't want to die. I have a headache. What? But it's true. Some of the symptoms are crazy because everyone's body is different, and synthetic chemicals react with different people's bodies different ways. So over $6.5 trillion per year is spent on global healthcare. But the issue is, in general, our world is getting less healthy. People are taking more medications at a younger age, and I see this every day. 40-year-olds on blood pressure medicine, 40-year-olds with diabetes, 60-year-olds on 10 or 12 medications. That's like a job. It's like your job to figure out when you take these medicines. And they're not once a day, they're like twice a day, 3 times a day. Make sure you eat, make sure you don't eat. So you have to like figure out when you're eating to when to take your medicines, and it's crazy. So there is a better way. Plants are made by nature. Our bodies are natural and made of the same thing that plants are made of. We're all carbon-based. So what's carbon? Carbon is an atom, and it's the backbone of every single living thing. And that's why plant extracts work with our bodies so well. They're made at the base level of the same things. So the natural approach is that you want to fix what the problem is. You fix the root cause so that it's no longer a problem. So according to holistic natural medicine, everything is fixable. It just takes a certain amount of time. So I'm not going to use blood pressure as that because that is a super hard one to fix. Naturally, it takes some time. But things like if you have occasional stomach discomfort, if you take a Western medicine for it, it doesn't fix the problem. It puts a Band-Aid on a problem. So when you put a Band-Aid on the problem, say I have a good one. Say you scrape your leg. You don't wash it out and you put a Band-Aid on it because you don't want it to get any more dirt in it. But you didn't wash it out and you didn't fix it. So now it's infected and festering. And so what do? You don't wash it out because that's not Western medicine. You put a bigger Band-Aid on it and it gets worse and it festers more and it gets more infected. And so then you put a bigger Band-Aid on it and now the problem's worse. So that's what symptom management is you're managing a single symptom. With natural approach is, well, you have a cut. So let's wash it out, let's clean it out, and let's help support your body's natural ability to heal and to stay infection-free. And that's what the essential oils help you do. It helps the root cause of the problem, and it gets to what the problem is so you can fix it naturally. So the other way that essential oils are awesome is because they work with our body, they can actually cross the cell membrane. Can you guys all see that little cell on the left-hand side? So the little red squiggly lines are the essential oils. The green little blob, that's a bacteria. And the purple blob is a virus. So bacteria and viruses are two different things that make us sick. There are lots of different classes of things that make us sick. So antibiotics work because they kill bacteria. Antibiotics cannot go inside of our cell membranes. They can kill bacteria on the outside because they can kill whatever's on the outside of the cell. The reason they don't work on viruses is because viruses go into our cells and they're like little terrorists. They hijack our little factories of our cells to make more copies of itself. And then when the cell is full of viruses, it literally like explodes and little viruses go all over your bloodstream. So that's why antibiotics don't work on viruses. There's a couple other technical reasons too, but basically that's it. So essential oils can cross through into the cell and help support your cell's natural ability to heal itself and fight off the virus so that it helps with both bacterial infections and viral infections with immune support for your body. That's why we take essential oils no matter what sort of infection you have, because you're using your body's natural ability to help itself get better rather than using an outside synthetic chemical to try and artificially kill whatever's causing you to be sick. Everybody, does that make sense? There's a chat. Let me see what it says. Oh, it says yes. Okay, sweet. So essential oils, is it gonna load? There we go. Essential oils have been used for thousands of years. I think I kind of went into this. Modern medicine, it's like 100 years old. So the Chinese have used plant extracts for thousands of years. There's still a lot of Chinese medicine practitioners. The treatments are very powerful, and it's a very rigorous schooling to get through. Essential oil extracts and plant extracts have been found in the Egyptian pyramids, and the Christ child was given frankincense and myrrh. And whether or not you are religious and believe that he was the Christ child, there is no doubt that a person named Jesus lived, and people brought him gifts. And frankincense and myrrh were brought because of their immune boosting and skin supporting properties, both for Mary and Jesus. Childbirth used to be a scary thing. A lot of babies died, a lot of moms died, there was a lot of risk of infection, and people's bodies couldn't always fight off these infections on their own, so they needed some support so that the body could do it naturally. That's where the frankincense and myrrh came in, and other natural remedies people have been using for thousands of years. So the original Dr. Hippocrates, the ones that Western medicine refers to about the father of medicine, he actually was a natural guy. He used plant extracts, and he used natural tinctures, which is basically just dried herb in paste rather than an essential oil. So he really was a natural guy. He didn't believe in synthetic chemicals made in the lab. He was one of us, which is so cool. So then it gets later in the eons, and actually there's a nurse named Jeanne Vaunet, and she used essential oils on soldiers in France. And today, French doctors still use essential oils. I have a friend who's on my team, and she actually grew up in France, and she lives here now. And when she was young, she would go to the doctor and get a prescription for an essential oil. So how cool is that? And even today, doctors will give prescriptions for essential oils. And they use other, obviously, Western medicine as well. But it's amazing to see the different philosophies of different countries and different doctors, different places. So now we're to today, and essential oils are everywhere. They have been on the Oprah show, they've been on the doctors, and everyone has at least heard in passing of them. I don't know too many people, especially in California and Texas, on the East Coast, in the middle of the country, maybe some people haven't heard of it as much, but they've definitely been mentioned on the news, and most people have been exposed to at least the name essential oil, even if they're not sure what it is. So it's really coming full circle, which is awesome. Since they are everywhere, it is very important to know what's in your essential oil. There are 4 different grades. One is synthetic, that's made in the lab, it's for your perfumes, and it has no therapeutic value. There's food grade. This is the ones like your orange extract that you use for baking and cooking. There's no therapeutic benefits, but they taste good or smell good. Therapeutic oils are the ones that have health benefits. These are doTERRA oils. These are some of the other oils on the market. However, in the essential oil space, because they're not medicines, they're not regulated by anyone. The FDA has no say as to what is on the bottle versus in the bottle, and that's very frustrating. When I hear people say that they've had bad experiences with oils, I always know that they didn't get a true pure essential oil, and that makes me frustrated, because then they have a bad experience and they think that essential oils don't work, or they're bad, or they had an allergic reaction. And I want them to try doTERRA, because doTERRA oils are a cut above. Because there's no regulation, doTERRA came up with their own 10-step testing process. They use a third-party lab so that it's not anything where they could doctor the results or have any say over what happens. They do it 3 times between harvest and bottling, and they called it certified pure therapeutic grade. So that is doTERRA's trademark, but they have opened it up to every single essential oil company out there if they want to do it. They're not secretive tests. The series of tests is not secretive, and at this point, doTERRA is the only one doing all the tests. To me, I believe, and this is just my opinion, that if a company believed their oil could pass the test, why wouldn't they do it? If they're not doing a test, maybe that oil wouldn't pass the test. So the other amazing thing I learned recently was when an oil that doTERRA has bought does not pass the test, guess what they do? They don't throw it away. They put it back up out on the open market for someone else to buy. So that oil goes to another essential oil company, and they bottle it and put it out there as whatever oil it is. And so someone else is getting the oil that didn't pass doTERRA's stringent standards. So that's why doTERRA oils are so much better and more therapeutic, and people have better results than any other oil out there. So the other thing I always want to address is organic. People ask me, oh, it's not organic. There's no organic certification. Well, the organic certification has to do with growing it. That has nothing to do with essential oils, unfortunately, and it's hard to get people to see the difference of that. So when something is grown organically, it has more of a food use than an essential oil use. So what I always say is, say doTERRA is growing an organic lavender, but Farmer Joe next door is growing GMO corn, and he's using some sort of pesticides. That pesticide blows on doTERRA's lavender, but the lavender is certified organic. Guess what? When they distill that, there's going to be pesticides in that lavender, and they're still going to be able to put that it was organic. But because the essential oil is very concentrated, guess what else is concentrated? The pesticide. And that's gross. So that's what I tell people when they say, well, it's not organic. Well, it doesn't mean anything. So doTERRA does test for pesticides, so they don't need to have an organic certification. The other thing too is that because doTERRA works with partner growers in hundreds of countries, look at all these. I love this. This is like one of my favorite things that I love showing people. These are all the countries doTERRA works with, independent partner farmer growers called co-impact sourcing. That a lot of these places, they don't have an organic certification, and there's not a good way to get that organic certification. And so what they do is doTERRA works with these partner growers on co-impact sourcing so that there's a sustainable source of these plant materials that they make the essential oils out of. By doing this, they also support the farmers and having a sustainable income, and they also support the communities that these farmers come from. So most of these farmers come from very impoverished areas, and they don't necessarily have a sustainable source of income. And because of that, the product can be very varied, both in quantity and in quality. So doTERRA pays these farmer partner growers to have a higher quality oil, not a higher quantity. And so that is very important to me also, because doTERRA gets a very high quality of oil, and then we know what we're putting on our skin. So super quick, for people who don't know, you can use essential oils 3 ways. Aromatically is breathing it in, topically is on your skin, and internally is either in some sort of juice or water, or there's also pill capsules you can take that are pre-filled, and then empty pill capsules. Some oils are neat. Those are ones that can go right on your skin and don't need to be diluted. Some are sensitive. This is for people who have sensitive skin, or kids that are young, or even elderly people sometimes have really sensitive skin. There are also oils that need to be diluted. These are hot oils, things like clove, things like oregano. These never can be put on your skin undiluted, even in adults, even on your feet, because it will cause some skin discomfort. This is my favorite way to use oils, no joke. Aromatic. So that picture looks kind of crazy, like, oh my gosh, what is going on there? So when you breathe an oil in, it goes into your nose, into your nasal cavity, and then right next to your nasal cavity, right here, is the olfactory bulb. That is part of your brain. And it sends little signals to the limbic system of your brain, and your limbic system interprets those chemical signals as emotions. So your limbic system is the ancient part of your brain that's in charge of your emotions. Your limbic system also controls 90% of your behavior. Did you guys just hear that? Your limbic system controls your emotions, and your limbic system controls 90% of your behavior. So much of what we do is just a reaction to what's happening to us. And if we can stop and be mindful of what we are reacting to, we can change our behavior, and we can change, it sounds so silly, but like we can change our life. Like our life so much is how we react to a situation and not what's actually happening to us. And so essential oils are so powerful for that reason. Emotions are chemical messages. The oils are specific chemicals that can interact with this system, and they send messages too. The limbic system is influenced through the aroma of the oils, and the oils can have an effect on our emotions. If you are having a bad day, a bad hour, or a bad minute, if you stop, use a little bit of one of the citrus oils, rub it in your hands, and breathe it in. It takes like 30 seconds. That citrus oil, the little tiny molecules go directly to the limbic system of your brain and send chemicals to your brain to have a more positive outlook on life. It takes 30 seconds, and it changes the whole way that you've interpreted your day. So that's one of my favorite ways to use it. I diffuse essential oils every day, both to clean the air. I diffuse them to support the respiratory systems of my kids and me. And I use it for this one, affecting my mood and emotions. My kids are little. I need a lot of this, and so do my kids. So the other way is topical. There's tons of ways to use it topical. Use it where it hurts. Use it on the back of your neck so that you get the aromatic use from the back of your neck. Use it on your chest. You also get it aromatically from your chest. 1 drop of essential oil, it's absorbed in 30 seconds. It's in every single cell of your body within 20 minutes. Remember that little picture that I showed you where the essential oil goes into the cell? 20 minutes into your cell. And every drop has 40 trillion molecules. That's why 1 drop can go to every single cell in your body. The one thing is, never, never, never in your eyes, or never, never, never in your ears. Those are 2 places it never goes. Internally, add it to beverages, take it in a veggie cap, under your tongue. I do this with frankincense, and that helps support a normal inflammatory response of my body. They have supplements, and you can use it in cooking. I use them in cooking all the time. Good way to know if you can use it internally or not, it has supplement packs. You turn your bottle over. If it has a supplement packs on it, you can take it internally. If it doesn't have a supplement packs on it, does not go in your mouth. All right. So I want you guys to think about this next one while I'm going over some of the oils and what they can do. So what right now are your top health concerns? This is for people who use the oils right now, as well as people who have not currently used them. All of us have things that we're dealing with, and we don't always stop to think, how maybe could I better deal with this? This isn't just physical things. This is emotional things. This is mental things, all of that. How long has it been an issue, and what is it costing you? And more so for us in the Western world, it's not so much our money, but it's time, it's energy. It's what is this problem costing the relationships that I'm having with my kids, with my spouse, with my family, with my friends? What is it costing me to have this issue for this long that I have not been dealing with? So I want you guys to kind of think about that. So what can essential oils do for you? So essential oils are my toolbox. They are the way that I am empowered to take care of my family with most day-to-day issues that pop up at home without going to the doctor, paying copays that can be $25, $50, $100 every time you see them, to have the doctor say, well, this isn't something we give a medicine for. They'll get better on their own. There's oils that can help you with things that we don't have medicines for that really fix the problem. Skin issues, cough and congestion, digestive upset, occasional diarrhea or occasional constipation. Immune support. Everybody needs that right now in flu season. Muscle soreness, after exercise recovery. Who needs energy? I think everybody needs energy. But if you've already had 2 or 3 cups of coffee, the last thing you need is another cup of coffee. But you need another way to get more energy. Stress management. This is one that every single person I know in my life, except maybe my kids, honestly. I don't think my kids need this. We have stress all the time about everything. It's not just financial. It's like 100 things to do, and it's packing our days too full and saying yes when we should say no. It's all kinds of stuff. So there's oils for all of these. These are my top 12 oils and what I use them for. Lavender. This is the number 1 oil for everything. If you can only have one oil, you have this one. It's for skin irritation, feelings of tension. It's not just when you want to sleep and need some help with some sleeplessness. If you're feeling stressed out, use this. Put it where you have some discomfort on your head when you're having some headaches. Also for tension, breathe it in aromatically, put it on the back of your neck. You get that aroma of the oil, so you're getting it topically and aromatically at the same time. So we can also take this one internally. It helps with sleeplessness and promotes a peaceful sleep. I love lavender also in the bath. This helps my kids wind down after a long day, and this is great for adults too. Some of us have those brains. I know my husband's one of them, that they just don't shut off. So they're always thinking about 100 things we need to do, what we're doing tomorrow, what we're doing the next day, what we're doing with our life, what plant I'm going to put in the backyard, what we're going to build next in the backyard. My husband's standing right next to me, by the way. That's why I'm saying that for him. But he's always thinking, and he just can't like turn it off.
Hi, Pete.
he just walked down the hall.
Oh man,
Mandy.
Hi, Mandy.
Hey, Peter. Your wife's amazing.
Aw, yeah. Say it again.
Amazing. She's so awesome.
She said I'm amazing. Oh, this is my 3-year-old. He's almost 4. Say hi.
Oh, hi, sweetie.
It's Bennett. She's right there. Say hi. My family. Mine is my 2 oldest.
Everybody seems healthy and happy. That makes me very happy.
Yes. The other thing I love lavender for is, so a lot of people know now that dryer sheets are super bad for you, but there's still a lot of people who don't know that. So if you're using dryer sheets, stop. Take them and throw them away. Don't worry about the money that you're wasting on that box you have. Throw them away. They're super bad for you. The chemicals get stuck to your clothes, and then like you breathe in the oil, you're breathing in all of those chemicals off of that dryer sheet, which are all synthetic and made in a lab, not good for you. So what can you do to make your clothes smell good without a dryer sheet? Lavender. Get a dryer ball. There's tons of places that sell them. They're not very expensive and they last forever. You also can make them, but if you're gonna make them with 100% wool yarn. Otherwise they won't work right. But they're really not expensive. You can literally just search on Amazon for wool dryer balls and they'll pop up. So you put a couple drops of lavender on the dryer ball. Use 2 or 3 in your dryer, and that way you won't be getting all those harsh chemicals that are absorbed into your skin through your clothes. So the chemicals on dryer sheets, they're called endocrine disruptors. What they do is they get absorbed through your skin and they mess up with your endocrine system. So what's your endocrine system? It's the master hormone system that is in charge of everything your body does. Every cellular reaction, every hormone your body releases, everything. So why are we having so many problems today with digestive discomfort, with sleep issues, with difficulty getting pregnant, difficulty staying pregnant, difficulty focusing, difficulty concentrating? Every single one of those things is mediated and supported. Mediated meaning like managed, that's like the medical word for managed, by your hormones. And your hormones are managed by your endocrine system. And when you use synthetic chemicals, your endocrine system cannot work. And so we wonder why we're having so many issues, and that's why, because of all the synthetic chemicals. So use lavender, it's amazing. So I love studies, and this is one of my favorite ones because I am a nurse, but there's also so many people who do shift work who are not nurses, people who wait tables, people who work as police officers or firefighters, people who work in factories. There still are a lot of people around the country who work in factories. So the name of the study is Aromatherapy Alleviates Endothelial Dysfunction of Medical Staff After Night Shift Work, Preliminary Observations. So I know to a lot of you that sounds like, might as well be like a foreign language. So I know Rosie's on here. She's on my team and she's a nurse also. And Rosie's like, oh, I know what that means. I totally know what that means. So alleviates means helps. Endothelial dysfunction is the lining inside your blood vessels. And what happens is night shift workers of all kinds in all walks of life have a lot of medical problems. They end up with diabetes more often. They end up with heart disease. They end up with high blood pressure. They end up with sleep disruptions. And all of that is because you're not supposed to be awake at night. It disrupts your normal circadian rhythm, the normal rhythm of awake during the day when it's light, asleep at night when it's dark. Well, somebody has to work in the ER and somebody has to work in the hospital when it's nighttime and people still need care. Somebody still needs to be a police officer and keep us safe at night. Somebody still needs to be available when we call 911 at night. And a lot of shift work at night is people who are working 2 and 3 jobs also. Not everyone is able to support their families with a single job. So if you are awake at night, your body's not able to heal like it's supposed to at night during the natural dark time. That causes a lot of systemic inflammation and a lot of problems from the systemic inflammation. So what does lavender do according to this study? They did a study with night shift workers, doctors and techs, and they had their brachial artery flow measured. Your brachial artery is right here in your arm. And what it is it showed how much blood was going through there and how much inflammation you had. So essential oils do not cure or treat. We're going to all repeat. Essential oils do not cure or treat. What they do is they support our body's natural ability to get back to the way we are supposed to work. So the way we're supposed to work does not have inflammation. Night shift work interrupts that. So diffusing lavender for 30 minutes helped these shift workers get their arterial inflammation back to what it should be because the lavender supported the body's natural ability to have a normal inflammatory response like they would if they were not working night shift. So I think that is super cool. So this right here is the PubMed ID. PubMed is a free reference of all the studies of every medical study that's been done and published. You can go there and look for anything. If you go there and look for aromatherapy, there are tens of thousands of studies. There are more and more every day, and I think it's amazing that we're really understanding how these oils work and why they work, and it's not, well, my mom said it worked or my mom had a good response. It's they really work because we're finding out chemically why they work. So another one of my favorites is peppermint. So peppermint helps alleviate occasional stomach discomfort, and it also supports a normal respiratory function. One of my favorite ways to use peppermint is with that orange that I talked about. A couple drops in my hands, 2 o'clock, I'm going to pick up my kids from school, and I rub it on the back of my neck. So I used it aromatically, I used it topically on the back of my neck, and it opened my airway, and it continues to open my airway as it diffuses off my back towards my nose. And when your airway gets more open, your lungs get more oxygen. And when your lungs get more oxygen, then your bloodstream gets more oxygen, and then your brain gets more oxygen, and then you're not so sleepy. And you didn't have to drink more coffee, which is good. So peppermint can be used internally, topically, and aromatically. And there's a lot of studies actually about this, with peppermint and postoperative nausea, peppermint and nausea in general. So this isn't for nausea that happens all the time. This is like an occasional nausea that happens after surgery. So after surgery, a lot of people end up getting nauseated from the synthetic chemicals that they're given to help them sleep during surgery so they don't feel it. Now, I'm not telling you not to get a synthetic chemical when you get surgery to make you sleep. Please do, because I don't think anyone wants to feel what's happening during surgery. But because it's a synthetic chemical, it causes your body to be angry at you. And so you can wake up with nausea, and it can be bad. So after surgery, patients who reported nausea were offered aromatherapy, either ginger or a blend of essential oils, ginger, peppermint, cardamom, and spearmint, and it was a specific blend that they made up for this study. And the patients using both the ginger and the blend reported less nausea, and they used fewer antiemetic medications. Antiemetic medication is a medication that helps stop the nausea. And the cool thing was, it was statistically significant. So it's like a buzzword in the science world. If something works, but it's not statistically significant, they can't say that whatever they were testing affected the outcome. If it's statistically significant, it affected the outcome. So this is powerful for people who have allergies too. Some people are allergic to these medicines, and then they have no options if we don't use aromatherapy, and they just get to feel sick and vomit, and that sucks. That is no fun. And if you just had an abdominal surgery, the last thing you want is to vomit because you have stitches or staples and that area hurts. So this is a good option for people who are both sensitive to the medication. Maybe it doesn't really work with them, or maybe they're allergic, or maybe they just don't want to take a medicine. This is also powerful for the amount of money we spend on medical care. Every medicine you get from a nurse costs you money, not just for the medicine itself, but for the actual act of giving it. Every time I give a medicine to a patient, the patient gets charged. So if there's something natural that works with your body to support your normal pathway to feeling less nauseated, that's a good option for people. So that's another reason that I love peppermint. So that's the idea where you can look up the study. All right. Another oil that I love that's in my top 12 is frankincense. So this is like a close second to lavender if I could only have one oil. It's so hard to pick, but I think lavender is very powerful and amazing. Frankincense is the king of all oils. This is the oil that was also given to Jesus, and it's because it supports a normal inflammatory response of your body. It also is used a lot for meditation, because every oil also has some mindset properties to it, and that's not really where people start with oils usually as to what oils to use for mindset. But frankincense is said to help connect you with the divine, whether that be your God, your gods, the universe, the earth, whatever it is. If you meditate or pray, if you put frankincense on your forehead or on the top of your head or even your chest so you can smell it, it helps that connection to the divine. And part of it is that it's going into that limbic system where our memories are housed and activating those areas of our ancient brain that know what frankincense is when they used to use it for religious ceremonies and in religious rituals, which I think is super awesome.
Katie, I think it's so funny. Every time I teach a class, I can always tell who my Catholic friends are. Because every time I pass around the frankincense, they're like, I feel like I'm at Mass. And I'm like, yes.
Right?
I use frankincense at Mass to do just that.
Yeah.
It's fine. Yeah.
Yeah. And the Christian church adopted it also because, they sprung off from the Catholic church. But I think it's amazing, these uses that the church had for these essential oils. It wasn't just emotional, it was physical too. So when they're burning that frankincense in Mass, they're also helping to purify the air, because we didn't have antibiotics back then. And you had all those people in one place, and if somebody was sick, that was ripe for the spread of germs. And you're also helping people boost their own immune systems while they're breathing it in, which I think is powerful too. So frankincense, because inflammation has so much to do with where we get sick in every single system of our body, by having a normal inflammatory response, it also promotes healthy cellular function, healthy digestive function, healthy immune function, healthy nervous function. And this is every woman's friend. If you use it topically with a little bit of coconut oil at night, you can put it right on your skin. It helps reduce the appearance of skin imperfections. That's awesome. Who likes to look old? Nobody. Not me. I love it when people are like, oh, you're 40? I thought you were like 30 or 25. And I'm like, oh, somebody must have paid you. But honestly, it's nice to feel like you look young and not old. So this can be used aromatically, topically, or internally. And there are also lots of studies on frankincense if you look them up in PubMed, but it's very hard to speak to it in a compliant way because of what the studies show. So as many of you know, because it is not a medicine, it's a supplement, there's specific ways we're allowed to talk about what the oils do. So if you want to know more about frankincense, go to PubMed and look up frankincense, and it's pretty amazing. So my next one is lemon. I love lemon. We go through a whole 15 milliliter bottle of lemon every month. We put it in our water every single time we drink water. My kids use it in their water. It did take a little bit for my kids to like it in their water, but now it's like if I don't put it in there, they'll be like, "You put any lemon in here?" It's almost like, you don't love me? What the heck? So lemon is a citrus oil. It is great at getting up the gunk if you're going to clean with it. It also is a powerful cleansing agent, both on surfaces, in the air, and in your body. So your liver is the trash man of your body. Your liver cleans your blood as it goes through the liver and takes out all the gunk and junk. And if your liver's not working right, it's very hard for it to do its job. That's when we start to feel sluggish. We start to have breakouts. We can get rashes. We can start to have other issues because our liver's not able to clean our blood like it should because it's all backed up and toxic. So the lemon helps support the liver's natural ability to detoxify itself. What it does is it helps the liver make glutathione. Glutathione is a natural chemical your body makes to help it clean itself out and helps the liver clean itself out. So it's pretty amazing that we know how lemon works in helping support your body in doing PubMed. It's P-U-B med. It's awesome. Yeah, and you can search anything on PubMed. It also supports the respiratory system when you diffuse it. And some people don't really like the smell of orange. So you also can do, thank you, Mandy, for putting it on there. You can also use lemon instead of orange with that combo of peppermint and wild orange to breathe in. You can also use grapefruit if you don't like the smell of lemon. But lemon itself has a very specific action when used internally, supporting the liver and detoxifying itself. You can also use it in cooking, and doTERRA's #1 selling oil, and it's $10. I think that's amazing. We use it every month. So if you don't use lemon right now, put lemon on your next order. All right, Melaleuca. This is also one of my favorite oils. Obviously, it's on my top 12. So it's cleansing and purifying when you use it on the skin. It supports the skin's natural ability to help it heal itself. It's really awesome to put in cleaning mixes that you make at home. When I make my own stuff at home, I use a glass bottle, I add water, and I put like 10 drops of Melaleuca and 10 drops of lemon in it. Sorry, we have like gnats in my house right now. I don't know what happened. You can also take it internally. It helps support your body's natural immune response against seasonal threats. Because it supports your body's natural immune response, it promotes healthy immune function. And then it soothes your skin with occasional skin irritations. If your skin is irritated in any way, and that means it doesn't look normal, it looks other than normal, it helps soothe your skin from that irritation, whatever it may be. There are also lots and lots of studies about Melaleuca. This one's called The Efficacy of Australian Essential Oils for the Treatment of Head Lice Infestation in Children, a randomized controlled trial. So randomized controlled trial is the best kind because they give one group one thing and they give another group another thing, and they can actually prove that whatever they're testing works. So this doesn't work for everything because you can't always put a human being in a group that's causing them to get sick. But if someone already has head lice, you can separate them into 2 different treatment groups. So the Australian essential oil was Australian Melaleuca. So Melaleuca is tea tree, and it comes from Australia. So it's kind of like saying the same thing twice, but that's what it says. It's also eucalyptus. This is not Australian eucalyptus. It's regular eucalyptus. So if any of you have small children or school-age children, you know that head lice is rampant. And there's been an increase in chemical-resistant head lice. What that is you go to the store, you buy the head lice shampoo, it's a chemical, it says not to leave it on longer than you should because it can burn your head, it can make your hair fall out, it can give you a rash, but you won't have head lice anymore. Unless it's a head lice that aren't killed by that chemical. Because head lice, like everything, develop a resistance, even us, we develop resistance to chemicals we're exposed to a lot. That's what happens with antibiotics. When bacteria get exposed to antibiotics a lot, they get resistant to the antibiotic, and then the antibiotic doesn't kill them. So it's the same thing with chemicals. That's why if you spray for ants and you've been spraying for ants at your house for years and all of a sudden it's not working, well, your ants developed a resistance to whatever chemical you're using. So you need to use something else, or don't use chemicals, use peppermint. But anyways, so what they did.
Can I say something really quick, Katie?
Yeah.
Okay, so true story. My friend had moved to Australia for like 3 years.
Oh my gosh, so jealous.
She moved out with her family and everything. And in the area she was at, she had texted me this one Sunday saying, she doesn't use oils. She's like, "You're Miss Oil Lady. Please, please, please tell me that there's something for head lice because everybody has it here." Like in her area, it was like normal to have lice. Like
Oh
she
my
would go
gosh.
to church or she would go to an event,
Oh,
see kids with head lice in their hair.
oh
Like,
gosh.
I won't get lice. I refuse. I won't have my children have lice. Give me
It's so gross.
anything. And so I sent her some Melaleuca, and her kids never got lice. So, I
Yeah,
mean, I just said, put 10 drops in your bottle of shampoo, make a
that's
hair
what we do too.
just keep them away. And just,
Yes,
so you can prevent and it
yes.
works.
So do what Mandy said, because that's what we do, is whatever shampoo you buy, put like 10 drops of Melaleuca in the shampoo your kids use. And then also if your kids use hairspray or anything like that, put a couple drops of the Melaleuca in the bottle so that when they use it, it gets on their head. And the head lice don't like Melaleuca. They don't like the way it smells. So they will, if they jump onto your kid's head, they'll be like, oh, it's so gross. And they'll jump back off. No joke. My daughter had head lice when she was like 3. It was super nasty. Oh, it was so gross. It was so nasty. And so we spent 5 hours in the backyard, like painfully combing them out. And she was too young to use the chemical stuff. So we had to use the kind that suffocates them, but it doesn't really kill them really good. And I didn't use the oils yet. And I wish that someone had told me to do it, but they didn't. But it's okay, because my kids haven't had it yet, knock on wood, because we use Melaleuca. So this is the coolest thing. So the essential oil, EOS essential oil, I was being lazy, was twice as effective as the standard chemical head lice treatment regimen in ridding the person of head lice. So we all know that essential oils don't cure or treat anything, but if your bugs have some resistance and you're using a head lice treatment, it wouldn't hurt to use some Melaleuca as well. And add some eucalyptus in there too, because that's what the study said. So my next one is oregano. This is my powerhouse. We don't use this one unless we are sick. So this is a super powerful one that supports a healthy immune system. And oregano also is used in a lot of cooking dishes. And interestingly enough, it also helps support a healthy digestive system. It supports a healthy respiratory system, and it's a powerful antioxidant. So if you have a high antioxidant load, meaning you have a lot of antioxidants in your diet, you are less likely to get ill because your body is managing free radicals. What are free radicals? They're little electrons are part of an atom that splits off and bounces around like a bouncy ball and causes damage to all the cells in your body. So an antioxidant grabs onto that free radical, and now they're best friends, and now it's like in a bubble and it can't damage your body or the cells of your body. And when there's no damage, you don't get sick as much and you don't have as many problems. So I think that's pretty cool. It says you can use it to clean the surfaces in your home. We don't do this a lot because there's a different oil that I like better. And it's used for seasonal threats. All of you guys know what that is. And you can use it aromatically, topically, and internally. This is one that's a hot oil. It's that dilute one. You have to use coconut oil with this one. It will not feel good and it will be sensitive. So let's talk about that. What happens when your skin is sensitive to an oil? You cannot be allergic to a doTERRA oil. Physically impossible. I don't care if you're allergic to oregano. You are not going to be allergic to oregano essential oil. In order to be allergic, you need to have a protein structure that your body recognizes as foreign and attacks. Essential oils are fat molecules. They're not going to make you fat. They don't have any nutritional value, but because it's a fat molecule, it's not a protein, and your body doesn't recognize it as a foreign invader. So if you are allergic to something awesome, like oregano, and you can't eat it in your diet, you should for sure be using the oil because you need the benefits of whatever that plant is. And if you have an allergy to something, your body's overreacting to something that should not be overreacting to. And you need to get your body back to normal function where it is not overreacting to these things. Because an overreaction causes inflammation, and we all know inflammation is bad. So that is my spiel on oregano. So another one is wild orange. I had already said about this one where you do a couple drops, you breathe it in, it makes you happy. You don't freak out because your kid nail polished your table. You're like, oh, I always wanted a pink glitter table. It's cool, whatever. Someday I'll look back and laugh. Haha, so glad I have wild orange. So we use this to uplift the mind and body. That is the mindset. That is the limbic system. That is the chemicals releasing to help you have a different response to something that's happening. So all the citrus oils also help immune function. I clean with it. I either use this or lemon in my cleaning stuff. When you diffuse it, it purifies the air. I use it for cooking all the time. and it uplifts your energy levels. And that is because when you have a positive mindset and a positive outlook, you actually have more energy. Why is that? They don't really know. But people who have a negative mindset and a negative outlook tend to have lower energy levels because they are in a negative feedback loop. So if you are feeling like you're in a negative feedback loop and you're feeling very negative, you need to use some orange essential oil. So the other thing is you can't overdose on it. It's not like you're going to take too much orange essential oil and like get too happy. I don't think anyone's ever been like, I'm too happy. I have a perfect outlook and I need to stop using this. So wild orange, there's also quite a few wild orange studies. This is one I like because it actually studied subjective anxiety. So anxiety is what you say it is. And it doesn't have to be anxiety as a medical diagnosis. It can be I'm feeling anxious about whatever it is happening. And this happens to most of us a lot. Even if it's just transient and comes and goes, we feel anxious about something. So the only drawback I don't like about this study is they only did males. And we all know that women and males, our brains work a little bit differently. But I couldn't find one with just women. But there also is one with nurses in the ER. And it says the same thing. And that's the one that most of us know from doTERRA, that it improved patient outlook, it improved nurses' outlook, it decreased nurses' feeling of overwhelm, it decreased nurses' subjective feelings of stress and anxious feelings. Because honestly, I feel like that a lot in the ER when I'm taking care of a patient who's really sick, and their outcomes and their health depend on me and like what I do and the choices I make and who I put first and what I put first and what I give first. And it matters what I do first. And so it's a lot to prioritize. And so there is that level of stress and anxious feelings, but it's okay because it's what I'm supposed to do. It's what I was meant to do. But I like that there's something that I can do if I need to take a deep breath. I literally go into the break room and like put the oil on my hands, like breathe it in and put it on my neck and then walk back out. And everyone's like, oh, you smell so good. I'm like, it's in my purse, go get it. So they inhaled wild orange and they reported less subjective anxiety. And that's the anxious feelings. It is subjective. I can't tell you what's going to make you anxious. I can't tell you how anxious you're feeling. Only you can tell me how anxious you're feeling or the anxious feelings you have. So this does not replace your medications if you're on medications, but it's great for managing those occasional anxious feelings and stress that can cause overwhelm. And this works through the limbic system, and we talked about that. So breathe. This is the oil that I used for my 6-year-old, who at the time was like 2.5 and having lots of respiratory issues. So this is a blend of laurel, peppermint, eucalyptus, lemon, melaleuca, cardamom, ravinsara, and ravinsara. doTERRA makes blends based on the science behind it. They don't just like put some oils together because they smell good. It's always science-based. So besides peppermint, the eucalyptus and the laurel leaf and the cardamom and the ravinsara do a lot like the peppermint does. They open up your airways, they get you more air, they support the normal workings of your respiratory system. They help you have feelings of easier breathing. And if you diffuse this by your bed at night, you can have a more restful sleep because your airways are more open. So if anyone has a spouse or a friend who snores, then you need this oil, hands down. When you have this next to your bed and your husband is snoring and you kick him gently, lightly, to roll over because he's snoring, you put this on next to the bed and you will have better breathing. Better breathing means less airway obstruction. It means less snoring, and it means a better restful sleep for everyone at night because you are supporting the normal respiratory function. Snoring is not normal respiratory function. This oil is incredible. This oil is one of my whys, why I do it. This helped my son so much. And if you have a child or a friend or a spouse or yourself who has any sort of not normal breathing issue, then you need to support your respiratory system to get it back to a normal function. So you don't need to stop the respiratory medicines you're on, and I say don't. You need to add this to your regimen. Use it a couple times a day, a couple drops on your chest. If it's a kid, put a couple drops on their back so they can't put their hands in it and put it in their eyes because that doesn't feel good. If it's a kid or an older person, dilute it with some coconut oil. So 1 to 2 drops in a teaspoon of coconut oil for adults or like older people, and 1 to 2 drops for a tablespoon of coconut oil for kids. If they have discomfort from this, all you do is add more coconut oil. It's as simple as that. The coconut oil is the essential oil's best friend. So it grabs onto their arm. And when you're running, you can run real fast by yourself. And that's the oil getting absorbed into your skin through the cells. When you and a friend are running together, there is absolutely no way you can run as fast. And that's what the coconut oil does, is it grabs on, and now it's running with each other, with its friend, and it gets absorbed slower, so there's not as much irritation when it gets absorbed. Simple as that. It doesn't make it less effective. It doesn't really dilute it, but there's not any other word we can use to describe what it does. So Breathe is amazing. And there are studies about the essential oils in Breathe. So this is my favorite. So COPD, chronic obstructive pulmonary disease. It sounds horrible because it is. So people who smoke get this a lot. People who live with somebody who smoked. People who were kids and their parents smoked. People who live in really polluted areas. People who have asthma for a long time, their whole life. What it does is it causes permanent changes in the way your respiratory system works. So concomitant is like together. Like concomitant therapy is you did one thing and you did another thing together. It reduces exacerbations. That means when something gets worse. And it's a placebo-controlled double-blind trial. So they gave two groups, this eucalyptus essential oil and a placebo, which was just normal saline, which doesn't have any effect on anything. It's salt water, to use for 6 months, 3 times a day, and see how it worked with their respiratory system. And what they found is that the eucalyptus oil that's in the Breathe, when used 3 times a day for 6 months during the wintertime, when people with this respiratory problem have a lot of exacerbations, a lot of problems, they get sick a lot more. The severity, how bad it was, the duration, how long it lasted. They were both significantly lower, statistically significantly lower. That literally blows my mind. It blows my mind. They also showed improved lung function. There's lots of ways we determine lung function. Every single way they measured it in this trial was better when they used the eucalyptus with whatever respiratory medicines they were using. They also, dyspnea is not being able to breathe. So it showed improved dyspnea, meaning they could breathe better. Those of us who use Breathe are like, yeah, of course, like duh, hello. And this is the one I love too. Quality of life, it was statistically significantly improved. People with this breathing problem, they don't have awesome lives sometimes. If you can't breathe, can you do your laundry good? No, well, I don't really care about that. Can you go out to the movies with your friends? Can you go play with your grandkids? Can you go on a vacation? Not always, because you're worried that you might not be able to breathe. A lot of these people also have to use oxygen all the time because their lung function, the ability of their lungs to breathe has that, I can't know how to say this. The ability of their lungs to breathe is that much impaired from all of this long-term damage that they're actually using oxygen all the time. So if we can use this oil to help them have a better life, even if it didn't do everything else, if it made them feel better and they said that they felt like their life was better using it, then check, sign me up. And you can't overdose on it. People can use it more when they need it, less when they don't need it. And all of this was statistically significant. So essential oils don't treat diseases, but it showed it can be used in conjunction with their normal medications to support normal inflammation responses of our body, support normal functioning of the lungs, even when someone has a disease and is using other medicines. So for some of you who have family members and friends and team members who are taking medicines and they say, can I use the oils with medicines? Yes, please do. Use them together. Some of the oils do have interactions with some medicines, so always ask someone who knows, but please use them in conjunction because they can help us get back to better normal functioning. Digestin, this is my other why. I was on all kinds of digestive medications because my digestive system was not functioning normally. So I started to use Digestin internally and topically, and it helped my digestive system to get back to normal functioning. I also use this for occasional stomach upsets with me and my kids. With me, I take it internally, a couple drops in a little bit of almond milk or juice or water. I don't like water as much because water is thinner, and so I feel like it gets stuck in my mouth rather than going all the way down to my stomach where it's needed. You also can use it topically. This is one of the ones where if your stomach is upset, put it on your stomach where the discomfort is. It also can help with any sort of abnormal functioning in your digestive system, because when you have occasional gas, occasional bloating, occasional indigestion, occasional diarrhea, occasional nausea, occasional constipation, your digestive system is not working how it's supposed to. So this will help support normal functioning of your digestive system so that it works like it's supposed to, and your body wants your digestive system to work like it's supposed to. So it works with your body's ability to get back to normal functioning. This oil's amazing. Like I don't even like know what to say. This oil is amazing. It's literally why I started sharing oils. Because if this oil could help me, I know there are other people out there that it can help also. And it is a natural plant extract. It's a blend of natural plant extracts. It's not something made in a lab. It's not something that has side effects other than you have less occasional nausea. You have less occasional indigestion. When I use it for indigestion, it literally helps my digestive system get back to normal functioning within like 30 seconds to a minute. It literally is incredible. So I've said a lot about digestion. Oh, didn't even say this. Occasional motion sickness. Who gets seasick or car sick? After having my kids, my inner ear that is in charge of like knowing whether I'm like this way or this way or this way. That's what vertigo is, by the way. When your inner ear is giving your brain mixed messages and your brain's like, oh, I know. You say I'm like this and like this and like this. I'm doing this. And that's why you feel bad, because your brain's like, oh, I must be spinning because you keep telling me I'm all these different ways. It also can help with that. So one of my kids gets very car sick, even driving on straight roads sometimes. So what I do is I hand her this. She puts a couple drops in her hands. She breathes it in. She rubs it on the back of her neck, and she feels better. I don't have anything else to help her. I can't stop driving when they're in the middle of our trip and get out and have a walk. That doesn't work. But I don't want her barfing either. So you can also diffuse this in your car. If you have a car diffuser, if you know your kids have occasional car sickness, do that. All right. My last one is like my favorite of all time. So On Guard. This, you know what? Take it back. If I could have one oil, this would be it. So it's one of doTERRA's most popular oils. It's a blend of orange, clove, cinnamon, eucalyptus, and rosemary. It supports healthy immune function, healthy respiratory function, and it helps your body have a normal immune response. When you have a normal immune response, that supports your normal respiratory response. I use it for cleaning. I diffuse it almost every day. This healthy circulation and healthy cardiovascular function, I think we forget about this a lot. But because it helps support a normal immune function, part of your immune function is your circulatory and your cardiovascular system, your heart and your blood vessels. And when your immune system is working like it's supposed to, then those systems work like they're supposed to. So in February, this month, I think, is the one about healthy cardiovascular function. Yes. So it's today. Maybe it's right now when I'm overwriting it. But there's one tomorrow too. So doTERRA has a free webinar.
Yeah, it's
Healthy Heart.
13th and 14th. That's tomorrow and Wednesday. And
yeah.
You can go to doTERRA.com, your back office, and you can register there. It's just the Empowered series, and it's amazing.
It's free.
It's free. It's awesome.
It's free education, and they will go into how these oils support your cardiovascular function and your circulation. So what I say is if you have anyone in your family who has a cardiovascular system, so that's your heart and your lungs and your blood vessels, that needs some support to have your body help get back to normal functioning, they need to take On Guard every day. So Dr. Hill has said 1 to 2 of those On Guard beadlets every day help support normal cardiovascular function. The On Guard beadlets are 1/4 of a drop of On Guard essential oil. My kids take those. They can take it in a small spoon of applesauce. You just use applesauce, put them in there, and then your kids can take it. My 3-year-old, he's almost 4, he takes 1. My 6-year-old and my 7-year-old take 2. And internally is a very powerful way to help support your body because it's getting into your body and going through your liver, and your liver helps magnify the effects of some of the oils. Does that make sense? All right. So there's lots of studies about On Guard, but this is my favorite one. So what season are we in? Flu season. What is everyone worried about? The flu. Where do I work? The ER. Have I been sick? Nope. Nope. I do wear a mask at work, but that's because it's a scarlet letter because I didn't get the flu shot. So I didn't get the flu shot. Every day I take care of at least one person who has the flu. Coughing in my face, hacking. I literally, when I put in an IV, their face is like right here. And they're like, I'm like, oh, thanks. I really love your respiratory secretions in my respiratory passageways. That sounds amazing. Thank you so much. So, hey, Bennett, don't yell, buddy. You need to be quiet. My 4-year-old's so excited about his Lego Star Wars game. I got a geek bomb is what he said. I don't even know what that is. So this is the protective essential oil. It attenuates, meaning inactivates the influenza virus infection in your body. So this is an in vitro study, meaning it was done in cells in like a petri dish in the lab. Why is that? Legally and ethically, we cannot infect humans with the flu to study it. That's wrong. And there's a board that sits over every research project that wants to be done and says whether it's ethically okay to do, and they would never approve a study to be done where you purposely give someone influenza. So all of the studies you'll see of the flu are done in vitro. And this MDCK cells is just what kind of cell it is. It's a kidney cell from a specific strain of like a specific cell line. They have to say what it is. So it was done in cells, not actual humans, and we know why. So there's a 90% decrease in the viral load, meaning how many viruses are in the population at a 1 to 4,000 dilution. What does that mean? 1 drop of On Guard, 4,000 drops of water. 90% decrease in the viral load. Yeah, so take 1 drop of On Guard internally every day during flu season to support a normal inflammatory response to help your body do this. Because essential oils don't treat or cure, but they support your body's ability to rid your body of the viral infection. So if you can't take it internally, another great way is bottom of the feet. When you use oils in the bottom of your feet, the pores are very large and it supports your natural ability to have the oil be absorbed through your skin and into your system. We went through how that happens earlier. My kids get this every day. And how does the On Guard do what it says? They tested a bunch of different ways to figure out what it was doing, and what they think is that it's a protein expression inhibition. So the viral cells make this protein that tells your cell what to do to make more viruses, and when that protein isn't made, it inhibited, then the viruses can't tell your cells what to do, and it can't take over your cell, and it can't make more copies of itself, and you have less flu virus, and you get less sick. So I think this is a super powerful study, and I would say everyone needs to take On Guard every day, either internally or on the bottom of your feet every day. So this is an experiment that went around Facebook. It was a science experiment. This is the new On Guard hand spray. This is a generic alcohol-based sanitizer, and this is Purell. So the alcohol-based sanitizer still has bacteria growing. The Purell alcohol sanitizer still has bacteria growing, but not as many as the generic. On Guard, hardly any, almost none. And this is the control. So this is why when your friends and family members who are like, oh, I use alcohol sanitizer, I'll be fine, and then they get sick. This is why. This is why. It still grows, doesn't kill everything, especially the generic. That's really bad. This is Germ-X, by the way. I hate to call them out, but it's Germ-X. This is why we use On Guard, because there's not much there. All right, hold on one sec. Hey, babe, will you get the kids real quick? Can you? Okay. It's still a half an hour, but I'm almost done. 12:51. It's 12:21. I might be able to. I just wanted to see if you had a call, so I knew if I had to be super fast. My kids get out early today. So my last 2 oils are Deep Blue. This helps with specific localized sources of discomfort where your body is not having a normal response to pain. The wintergreen, the camphor, the peppermint, these all are ones that have a warming effect, and that helps increase blood flow to the area. With increased blood flow comes increased nutrients and vitamins and oxygen to help your tissue heal, which is what your body naturally does by itself. It's also great after exercise to put on sore muscles. It's also great if you have a stressful day at work and you're having a lot of shoulder tension and neck tension. A couple drops of Deep Blue with some coconut oil, and you rub it on there, and it heats up, and then you relax, and you get yourself some hot tea or a hot toddy, and you chill out and relax and have a better day. So balance. I saved this one for last because I do not know a single person who could not use this oil. Even children need balance. Why is it called balance? It helps balance your emotions out. So it helps ease anxious feelings, and it promotes whole body relaxation. It evokes feelings of tranquility. And when you diffuse it, it creates a calm, soothing environment. So that sounds amazing, right? Like, who can't use this oil? So what does it do? So this is how I explain it. When you are feeling crazy stressed out and pulled in 100 directions, and it almost feels like you're grabbing at things because you're doing a ton of things at once because you have too much to do, this helps bring you back into balance so that you can focus on what you need to do to figure out where you are and what really needs to be done and what you need to do next. How does it do that? Through your limbic system. Because you breathe it in, it goes into your nose, into your limbic system, and that's where your emotions and memories are housed. And that's what helps you determine what is going to be my emotional response to the situation that I am in right now. That's why I keep this in my purse. That's why I keep this with me at all times. I diffuse it. I also diffuse it at night with my kids to help them have a more restful sleep. I use it sometimes during homework. If one of my kids is kind of stressed out about like a new subject that they're doing or something that's kind of stressful for them, or something that, it's like always hard to learn something new. If they're kind of struggling with the new concept, I'll just say, hey, do you want to like put a little balance on? That'll help you just kind of like get into the flow and like kind of relax and just like focus on what you're doing. And it's awesome. And I love it. So those are some ways to use those oils with some scientific reasons behind. So, do you see the essential oils I've been talking about making a difference in your life right now? So I don't think anyone can say no. So I want you guys to use these oils that I've shared with you and think about the scientific reasons behind why they work and use them. The more you use them, the more comfortable you get using them, and the more you will go to them when you're in the situation where you're having the issue. And if you want more information on all the studies that are being done, go to PubMed, PubMed.com, and you literally could get lost in there. And if you don't understand one of the words that's in the title, just highlight it and then put it in Google under search definition, and it will define it for you. And lots of times we use scientific words that we don't really want anyone to understand because we feel really special when it's like a really long word. It means something really like amazing. But if we just use regular words, people would be able to look at these studies and realize like, oh my gosh, now I understand what it's saying. I should totally use that. So I just want to say thank you for having me do this. Mandy, you're amazing.
Oh my gosh.
And I hope I didn't overwhelm you guys with information.
It's so nice to hear it from a medical professional. Because I think a lot of people that are on here know a lot of this info, but I like hearing it from a medical perspective because, like you said, science, it really does seal the deal for a lot of people when they're getting interested in this. And that's so awesome. Yeah. You have like 2 minutes to maybe answer a few questions if anybody has any questions.
Yeah. My husband said he could pick up the kids, so we're cool.
Yeah. Okay, perfect. Okay, so
I totally talked longer than I thought I would. Sorry. No. I could talk about the oils forever.
So helpful. There's so much good information in there. So I appreciate it. Thank you so much. You guys save time. Please unmute yourself to answer questions because I'm sure you want to type stuff in right now. So if anybody has any
questions specifically,
go ahead and unmute yourself or in the chat bar say I have a question and then I'll call your name and then you can unmute yourself. How is it still pretty crazy in the ER right now? We're still seeing a lot of flu.
You know, it doesn't seem to matter whether people got their flu shot or not. We're actually seeing more people who got the flu shot that have the flu.
Yeah. Yeah, that's unfortunate.
And I mean, it's just my opinion, but I feel like people who refused the flu shot or didn't get it sometimes are more holistic in nature.
Yeah.
And they're already doing other holistic things to support their immune system so that they don't get the flu.
Yeah.
Or if they do get the flu, they're not sick enough that they come into the ER because they feel that bad.
Yeah. Right.
But definitely coworkers have gone down with the flu, both ones who got the flu shot and ones that didn't. And interestingly enough, this is just anecdotal, but they were testing our stethoscopes to see how many and what germs are on our stethoscope that we bring from like patient room to patient room to patient room, because like we're supposed to clean them regularly, but they were asking us like, when was the last time you cleaned your stethoscope? And literally all of us were like, no. Like if we have somebody who's super gross that we use it for, then like, of course we'll clean it. But just on like a regular basis, I use it to listen to everybody.
Yeah.
And they tested all kinds of nurses' stethoscopes and it had all nasty stuff on it. Me and the other nurse at work who uses doTERRA all the time and puts it on our necks, and we wear our stethoscopes around our necks, had almost no bacteria on it.
Oh my gosh, that's a big deal.
None.
Wow.
And there are a lot of hospitals now, there's been in the news, a lot of hospitals are starting to offer patients essential oils and even diffuse them for patient satisfaction and patient comfort, because some of the time we're fixing your medical problem, but there's not a lot we can do to make you more comfortable. It's a lot of stress when you're in the hospital and you're waiting for tests and you don't know if you're really sick and you're really worried. And even if I'm not really worried about you because I don't think you're that sick, your perception of how sick you are and your perception of what it's going to be as a life change to you a lot of times is very different than my perception, because it's not me that's sick. And I never really took that to heart until I was very sick when I was pregnant with my first, and I was terrified. Yeah. I was absolutely terrified. And my nurse had said, I'm not that worried about you right now. You will know when I'm worried about you. And that's what I always say. And I was like, okay, if you're not that worried, I'm not going to be that worried. It's okay. Like, I never deal with this, but you do. So you're not worried. So that's okay. But if we have oils like Balance and Wild Orange and lemon and peppermint, some of those ones that can help people when they're feeling those anxious feelings and feeling stressed out and feeling overwhelmed, I think it helps you get back to better functioning physiologically. Yeah. Because when you're stressed out, that stress response also causes other physical problems of inflammation and other
cortisol.
Yes, exactly.
All that stuff. Yeah.
Exactly. And then your endocrine system's not working like it's supposed to because you're in fight and flight, and that causes other problems. And if we can get people back to being less stressed out and more relaxed, even though they're having this issue, then that helps them physically be better too.
And that's so true. That is so true. As a mom, you're a mom, and there's a lot of moms that are on here. When you're confident in what you're using and the fact that you know it's going to work, and even if it's not working to a point, it will help with the cleansing process. With the confidence there, it just takes the stress off of you. It really does. It does. I know my kid's going to be okay because I know what I'm doing is right, and it's worked for us for years, and it's going to continue to work. And so it takes
even just be able to do something, like to go to the doctor's office and have them say, well, it's a virus, it'll get better, you just got to wait it out. Like, I don't know many moms that are like comfortable with just waiting it out. We want to do something. Like my mom always used to say when I was sick, if I could be sick instead of you, I would. And I was like, she is crazy. Like, if I could be sick instead of you, like, oh, she doesn't wish herself sick instead of me. But now I have kids, I get it. Like, I do wish I could be sick instead of them. And it's not like we never get sick. We do get sick. It's not healthy if you never get sick. Right. But when we get sick, it's not as bad as it was before I used oils. It's not as severe, and it doesn't last as long because we're supporting our body functions to help our body get back to normal functioning. Yeah. And that's what I love.
A different alternative from going out to get the sugar-based orange juice and crackers and cough drops just to make everything hopefully fly by faster. We have things that are really effective and you're so amazing. Thank you so much.
I love you. You're so amazing too. I love it. I love that we're on different teams and we live close to each other and we can like come together occasionally to do cool stuff like this.
Anytime. I'm here anytime. I know you would do the same for me. And that's what I love. I love the doTERRA, the family that we even just have with each other in the company.
Yeah.
I'm here to help. It's the focus is we need to change everybody's mindset, and we're all battling for that one person we're going to talk to. It's what are we doing? You know,
but it's not, because the person who, I feel like we all have different people who are attracted to us based on, you know, like who we are.
Absolutely.
And what we offer. And if, you know, I don't necessarily connect with somebody else will.
Exactly.
And what I want is someone to be able to feel like they're connected to that like team and that group they're in, that they can get answers.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, I'm not like the most like touchy-feely, like warm, fuzzy kind of person. Like, it's just not a nurse.
What? Every time I see you, you're very lovey-dovey.
Like, no, but I mean, just like, I think there's like people who are attracted to different people for like their personality or whatever.
Yeah.
And I love it that everybody has their own thing and their own personality and their own like team culture, even though there's like an overriding doTERRA culture.
Yeah.
And I love that we can support each other.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Rosie was asking about the recording. I'm recording this right now, Rosie, so I will send it to Katie to make sure that she has it.
And Rosie's one of our F-line. She's amazing. And she is a labor and delivery and lactation nurse. And so
awesome. I actually, one of my girls wanted me to say hello. She said you were one of her, what did she say? It's for Virginie. I can't even say her name correctly. Virginie,
Virginie Vo. Yeah.
Yeah. And she said, oh, she was my preceptor.
Yeah.
In the ER.
Yeah.
She says she loves us. I don't know if she's joining us today, but she says hi.
Yeah.
She was so excited.
So she's my person that I talk about, that like she lived in France and used essential oils and then moved here and uses essential oils here. And like she always says how when she was a kid, they would use essential oils in France.
So cool.
But not here until now.
We're going to change that. It's going to happen, you guys. Watch the next few years. Doctors are going to be offering more natural alternatives because we can't go further with what we're dealing with right now. We need other alternatives. We need to get better as a country, as a world. I mean, our alternatives are
making us.
Yeah, making us.
You know, you take a medicine, it has side effects. You take a medicine for the side effects, and that medicine has side effects. And so then you're taking a medicine for the side effect of the first medicine you're taking, but that one has side effects. So you take a medicine for that, and now you're on like 4 medications because you had one issue in the first place.
Yeah, exactly. All right, we're gonna let you be a mom again, and you can tend to your children now.
Oh my gosh, my 4-year-old's like, I want to play more video games. Keep talking.
Go for it. Go take a nap. Go say, yeah, sure. Go play for a little nap.
Right. Yeah. They get out of school. I can go get them.
Rosie says, what did she say? I have a pediatrician on board and he has all the oils. I love
That's so awesome.
Love that. It's happening. It's happening, you guys.
And my pediatrician actually uses them too. I go to Seaview Peds here in San Clemente, and they have offices in Orange County too. And they're super supportive of oils. Almost all the doctors use them. So when you go in there and tell them what you're using, they don't look at you like you're crazy. They support you. And as they get better at knowing what to use, they can actually recommend them. Excellent. They're not my account. I wish they were.
Yeah.
I wish they were, but they're not. I know, right?
All right. So yeah, I'm going to let you go. And if you guys have questions, I will be posting this for my team. I'll be posting this. If you have other questions, I can pass them along to Katie if you want to ask.
Yeah.
That we got so much good information in. Thank you again.
Thanks, thank you so much.
And all of that. And I will talk to you next time, sweetie. Okay?
Yay. Sounds good. Thank you so much, you guys.
Bye.